A ever popular song, but song years ago, but somehow it is still relevant. It still holds. Too many guns in the tongue. This one have a gun, that one have a gun. So true. We know it's not everybody, but because of the crime surge or the crime or the fear of crime, let me be more correct, dealing with our topic today, maybe some of us are unable to distinguish. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. And we want to say good afternoon to you. As always, those of you who are to and from work, coming to and from work, good afternoon to you. And I want to say good afternoon to those of you who are picking up shift, for the workers who have finished shift. Good afternoon and thank you for spending that time with us. Good afternoon to those of you members of the pavilion who are home, who are constant listeners on the program. You always join in, you always weigh in, and you're always here with us. And you add and you scold and you chastise and we laugh, and we appreciate all our callers on Street 91.9 FM. It doesn't matter. We appreciate all our callers, and we want to take time to appreciate you. We want to say good afternoon to the owners and operators of this great radio station, Mr. Neil Iwer George himself, and happy belated in a particular birthday setting. The relevant person will know what we're talking about and whom we're talking about. And good afternoon to the staff and those of you who help us here to look decent. Those of you who help us behind the scenes, our hard-working producer, he's always here. And we're going to say thanks to you, Mr. Producer, at all times. You took the time to school us into an area that is not familiar. We appreciate you and we appreciate the work that you do. And thank God for life. And in that vein, I just want to get this aside. I had maybe the sad circumstance to attend a funeral today and of a young lady and a former client as well who died in South Trinidad. She's from South. And I could not distinguish the organization, nor did I hear or visibly see the organization for which she was a part for many years. Whatever the circumstance, she worked at an organization, and it was so telling for me to not see the organization visibly represented in any form or fashion. And I just had time to sit in the pew and reflect on how we kill ourselves, literally sometimes, for that job or that work. And on passing, it is just another day. You are blessed if you have co-workers and friends and who will turn up and show support and stand in solidarity. The boss will want to know who applying for time off. Not all of them. Some are very empathetic and they understand and they do what they have to do. But do some of us overesteem, let's put it that way, ourselves? Do we think of ourselves more than we ought to think? According to the good book, when it comes to life and work and that company, that factory, that wherever you're working or wherever you have worked, is it that you overplay your importance at times? Some of us feel that if we pass, the organization will shut down. the organization will cease to exist. And I wonder to what extent is that true? If at any at all. Are we that important? Does the business close? Does the business close for an hour? You get a minute of silence, do you? Do they put up and buy a wreath? Or is that for her friends or her corner or lunch mate? Is there a policy in work to pay homage to any employee, whether 1 day, 1 month, whether you were employee of the year or whether, is there that type of structure? How do we count our labor? How do we esteem ourselves? Do some of us think we matter more than we really think? Than we really do? In terms of work, and you give your best, your labor of love. Some of us, those of us who are retired, who gave years to build an organization. You might be lucky if you go by the gate and they recognize you now. Maybe you might be lucky. But life is so fragile. And we are on this Ferris wheel of home, work, home, sleep, repeat. Work, home, sleep, repeat. And for some of us, it's work, home, sleep, repeat. We do more than one jobs, and we really try to give of our best wherever we are. And that is not to say we should not give of our best. But really and truly, what does it matter? Does it really matter? Is our contribution really taken into account? Or are you just another number on the payroll, 0403, as your number? And when you do move on, there'll be 0404, and then 0405. And that's all. That is about it. They may not even change the chair. The chair used to sit down, somebody else will get it. The table you used to fight for, somebody else will get it. The cubicle you cuss your best friend for, or you bad up the boss for, all of that you can't take with you. Life. We work. We work and we work. But when it all adds up, what is the value of it? What is the value? When we look back, does anybody have the audacity to recognize your contribution? To organize a little group to go and pay respects? You don't have to talk, families have their own arrangements. It's not all of that, but are you even considered as having contributed to this organization in some way? And now that you no longer exist, is it like, all right, we've become desensitized? Work, the cycle of work. I just thought I would share that because it was very, for me, noticeable that, I was really looking forward to seeing members of the establishment in one form or another. Didn't matter who. It didn't have to be hierarchy. It didn't have to be anyone. But even from an employer standpoint, That employee should have meant something. Retirees are to benefit as government is set to scrap tax on pension income. Prime Minister Kamala Prasad said on Friday afternoon announced that the government will move to exempt pension payments and approve deferred annuity income from tax income, describing the measure as a key reform aimed at improving financial security for retirees. Now, this topic of retirees is a sensitive one. Very, very sensitive. And it's in vein with what I'm saying, what I've just said. People who have contributed in one way or another to their life and the society, they've paid their tax, they've paid their dues. Now they are outside the ambit of work. And some have become very financially vulnerable. And understandably so, because of health challenges. Some of those health challenges are associated or were associated with the job that they do. Maybe handling chemicals, maybe exposure to certain dangerous pollutants, and you've retired. You've done your years of service, and it's time for you to exit the labor force in that official capacity. And the government is saying now that there's a move to scrap the tax on pension income. So our first discussion will ask, do you agree? How do you feel? Do you welcome? And please don't make this a you red and yellow discussion. I just want to know how you feel as members of the pavilion on the move to scrap the tax on pension income. The number to call is 342-0081 466-5391. How do you feel about the move for retirees to benefit from tax exemption on their pension? Do you think it's a good move? Do you welcome the move? Or were you against it? It matters not where, for me, the genesis of it comes. It has come, and this government is looking to implement it. How do you feel about that? The number to call is 342-0081 466-5391. Our retirees have labored in the vineyard, and some had to retire early due to unforeseen circumstances and challenges. But their contribution, we have our first caller. Good afternoon, caller.
Hello, good afternoon, and how are you?
I'm okay.
I am pleased to hear this, but could you shed some more information? Because I myself didn't hear anything about it. So in what aspect is it that the tax before or the tax after? But whichever tax it is a great idea. I'm for it.
Thank you. Thank you very much. The details have not been shared. It was just a media blitz, so maybe it happened just this afternoon. But I'm sure as we go through, we will get more publication on it. It was just maybe announced in the parliament that the government will move to exact pension payments, tax on pension payments, and deferred annuity income. They will both be exempted from income tax. So I know it maybe was a campaign promise as well. Not all these promises came within a particular time frame. So thanks for contributing to the program, and you listen out for more, because I will get more into it as more comes available.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, no problem. So one person is saying she's welcoming the move, the announcement. The details will follow. They will follow. But tell me how you feel about the exemption on pension. Maybe they won't affect you yet, but your granny, your auntie, your uncle, your daddy, your mommy, your parents, your siblings, somebody may be benefiting from this or will benefit from this plan to scrap the tax on pension income. Again, the number to call is 3420081 4665391. We will not linger too much on any one topic this afternoon as it's a 46 program, but we want to deal with good news, quote unquote. Good news. The government has planned to scrap the tax on pension income. What say you? What say you this evening? Do you welcome such move? Do you applaud it? Some of you maybe were waiting on this for a while and had doubts that it would ever come to pass, and so far all indication is that this will happen, and I am celebrating good news. I am not a pensioner in any aspect, but I do know a lot of people who have contributed and retired and are not participating in the labor market in that way, who will really look forward to a little more in their pension, which will be the result of this. Once retirees are exempted from income tax on their pension, it's obvious that they will have a little more. They will have a little more. There are many exogenous factors that also affect their pension. But as far as direct taxation is concerned, they will have a little more. Tell me what you think about that move. 3420081 4665391 is the number to call. Those numbers again are 3420081 4665391. Removal of income tax on retirees' pension. And you know, these retirees, as I was saying, some are very, very vulnerable to, the society and the things that go on in society. For one reason or another, this is the case. And it is very welcoming. They always say the mark of any society is how they treat the elderly. How they treat the elderly. And I must say that for what it's worth, taken on face value, taken at face value, we will have to, give credit where credit is due. How do you feel? How do you feel about this income tax on pension being removed? Do you see it as a positive thing? You see it as a negative thing? It doesn't matter to you? How do you feel? Number to call is 342-0081 466-5391. How do you feel about this issue? Give me a call, weigh in, weigh in on this matter. Pension. And there's been a lot of talk about pension reform from various governments, and that is true. They have spoken about, the indexation of pension and other measures to, really soften the blow on what they will term as the most vulnerable in society. And we must take these things into account. It's easy to sometimes bypass or ignore the realities and the vulnerabilities of pension earners because we haven't reached there yet. And I stress on yet, you haven't reached there yet. Some of us are approaching that time where we will join the ranks of pensioners. And this government is making a move towards removing the income tax on deferred annuities and pension. So, tell me how you feel about it. What is your reaction? 3420081466539. You must have a reaction. Many of you in the pavilion are either there already or close to there. This is something you might feel in your pocket. And it might be indeed a positive for you. Or you have a different view. That too, we do welcome and we do understand. Share it with us on Street 91.9 FM on the Third Empire. The number to call is 342-0081-466-5391. Pension and pension reform and anything concerning the elderly is very, very critical to our society in many, many ways. It is very, very important and very critical that we deal with issues of the elderly, those who are most vulnerable. Good. It is a very good signal. It's a very good effort. It's a very good thing. That's in my view. You tell me what you think. The number is 3420081. That's 3420081. Tell me what you think about the removal of income tax on pensions and deferred annuities. Do you see it as a positive thing? Is it all the same to you? You think it's a good move? You are very semi-cautious about the move. You may not dislike it, but you might be a little cautious about the move, given maybe the state of the economy. You might find that it's a good thing, but maybe now is not the time. That might be your view. I don't know. So call us here, 3420081 4665391. What is your view on the removal of income tax on pension? We're starting off with pension. We're starting off with a positive, at least what would or may should be highlighted as a positive for all intents and purposes. But you may have a different view. Share it, no? You may have a different view. You don't have to see it like the umpire. You are independent of mind, independent of opinion. You don't have to see it like the umpire. And I know from a societal point of view, we are very, very concerned, as always, as we should be, with how we treat the elderly and what are the provisions that we make for them post-retirement. What provisions, how do we treat with them as a society, as an economy? How do we treat with them? The number to call again is 342-0081 466-5391. That's 342-0081 466-5391. Pension reform. Exemption from income tax on pension. Time to celebrate. I don't know, you tell me. Make a toast. I don't know, you tell me. You tell me. Campaign promise delivered? You tell me. You tell me. If this is so, indeed. And while you think about what you are going to say, we started off with spies with this one have a gun and that one have a gun. And certainly it looks so. And it may not be like that in truth and in fact. So what we find that there's a whole atmosphere of fear in this society for many people. So, despite as what has been described as several drops in several categories of crime, including murders, Police Commissioner Alistair Guevara says that the success of the TTPS often go unnoticed in the face of cynical social media users. Aha! You cynical social media users. You. The success of crime goes unnoticed, according to the commissioner. Guevara quoted several figures from the Police Crime and Problem Analysis branch during his feature address at Conversations with the Commissioner, a forum at the TNT Chamber of Commerce, Westmoreland, on Thursday morning, where he reported drops in serious reported crimes and violent crimes across several police divisions. Guevara reported that there were 370 murders in 2025, the lowest national murder rate since 2011, when a state of emergency was declared. He said the number of homicides dropped by 42%, and with the final figure in 2024, when 626 murders were reported. So, homicides dropped by 42% compared with the final figure to 2024, which recorded 626 murders. Additionally, he said that based on the figures presented at the TTPS meeting on Tuesday, this year's figures continue to trend downward, with a 13% drop in murders. He lamented that despite these declines, the fear of crime persists, which he blamed on persons on social media. He lamented that despite these declines, the fear of crime persists, which he blamed on persons in social media whom he accused of having an agenda. Describing these detractors as keyboard warriors, Guevara said that these people were unwilling to give the credit to the TTPS, even when improvements in crime and public safety were clear. Even when improvements in crime and public safety were clear, they criticized the police. When the homicides drop, they criticize us. When serious crimes drop, and they criticize us when the carnival recorded a historically low number of crimes. So no matter what you do in regards to crime, they will criticize. So learn to accept that. They criticize the TTPS even when the country achieved 42% reduction in 2025, which is the second largest annual percentage reduction in the world. The only other country to reduce homicides higher was El Salvador. We all know what El Salvador had to do. They have been under a state of emergency since 2022. Wow. Why aren't people feeling that? Why isn't anyone talking about that? Because fear has gripped this country for so long that we can't even see when change is coming. Guevara argued that the fear and panic surrounding crime was just as bad as crime itself, as he questioned why some people were so reluctant to believe that TTPS crime reduction efforts were bearing fruit. We, the TTPS, are able to utilize the extra powers given to us by the SOE to take a few of them off the street and look at the results you are seeing in front of you. These are not the results of failure. They are the results of pressure, disruption, and relentless enforcement. So when next you hear someone say the SOE has failed, ask them this: fail according to whom? According to what evidence? Because the statistics tell a different story. We can't predict that a man is going to commit a homicide and go arrest him before. So people will kill other people. But we are ensuring that we are able to protect with the resources that we have and the majority of the country. Northern Division had a 55% reduction. Tobago Division, a 41% reduction. Eastern Division, 40% reduction. Northern Division, 40% reduction. Central Division, 34% reduction. And in Southern Division, 32% reduction. So if you missed the news about pension, the exemption on income tax, here's more good news. Here is more good news according to the commissioner. But I want to get back up to what he said. He said that despite the declines, the fear of crime persists, which he blamed on persons on social media and whom he accused of having an agenda. Do you think social media is responsible for the fear or the heightened fear of crime in Trinidad and Tobago? Do you agree with the commissioner this evening? The commissioner asserts that things going good and we hear nothing about it. No front page. Even though, according to him, the statistics show that things have improved. And comparatively so. Social media. Persons on social media have an agenda. Do you think that's responsible for the heightened fear of crime in Trinidad and Tobago? Call me. Let's discuss it. 3420081 4665391. Do you blame this on social media? So in other words, we're freaking out. And we're freaking out for nothing. Social media. The constant TikTok, Facebook, the constant social media content is really driving this fear that some of us have. Do you agree? Do you put it down to social media? The number to call is 3420081 4665391. My pavilion. I want to hear from you this evening. Things getting better, yet some of us or some of you on social media are only highlighting and glorifying the bad things. That is the assertion, which is driving up the fear. When in reality, things getting better gradually, but things were worse comparatively social media influenced? Call me 342-0081 4665391. I want to hear from you this afternoon. Social media has been blamed for the heightened sense of fear of crime, which is being spoken of as distinct from and separate and apart from crime itself, the occurrence. This is the fear. And this is so because of social media. Do you agree with the commissioner? In other words, not as bad as we think. And it is not as bad as it was. It is just social media that keeps us hyped and focusing on the negative. But according to the commissioner, the statistics suggest that the trajectory of crime is going down. Not up, it's going down. Members of my esteemed pavilion, you tell me, you give me directions this afternoon. Is this all a social media hype? So in reality, the place a little safer than we think it is, but because of the social media, a lot of us are living in fear. And the commissioner of police is saying that such a fear is largely unwarranted based on the statistics. How do you feel about that? How do you feel about that? You are allowing your cell phone and your television to control your life. To tell you where to go and where not to go. You are living in a constant paradigm of fear. Do you agree with the commissioner's assertion that these things are really fear-driven? They're really fear-driven. They are really just fear-driven. It's not as bad as you think. This constant social media messaging and sharing of information and all these groups you're in, all these crime groups, you're getting broadcasts on your phone. Fear. Social media fear. You fear places you haven't even gone. You have never. Again, you've bought into the hype. Via social media. It's not that bad. It's not perfect, but it's not that bad. It could have been worse. Social media fear is really what is driving it, according to the top cop. Additionally, he said, based on the figures presented at the TTPS meeting, this year's figures continue to trend downward with a 13% drop in murders. He lamented that despite these declines, the fear of crime persists, which he blamed on persons on social media, whom he accused of having an agenda. They criticize the police when homicides drop. They criticize us when serious crimes drop. They criticize us when the carnival recorded a historically low number of crimes. So no matter what you do in regards to crime, they will criticize. So learn to accept that all. A stinging attack on the media and social media more so, for their role in fear-mongering among the citizens. Is that your view? Good afternoon, caller.
Afternoon, Mr. Rolex.
Yes.
Mr. Rolex, all I think the people of Trinidad have is the statistics or data from the police. I have nothing else to go with. There's no comparison. There's no other independent institution that do surveys in this country relative to crime. So if he says so, I can't say there's no basis for me to say all I could operate on is perception. And as I said, no surveys. The university don't collect data. They don't do surveys as far as I'm aware. As in the past, you had Professor Diusaran and those people, Professor Keynes and those people in the 80s and 90s. They did a lot of surveys, and therefore you could have compared the statistics with that of the police. But whatever the police say, there's no comparison. So if he says so, he's saying so, and you know, I'm guided by that. The question about social media, I don't know. Well, I don't know. It's hard for me to say how they really say that they try to change the perception or change the thinking of the population by way of with respect to crime, with respect to their utterances and probably their involvement in social media. I don't know, but I'm saying that this country, as somebody, Morgan Job, was saying sometime, there's no intellectual life in this country. It's gone. And no research. So all you have to go by is what the police say. And that's it. So if he says that, logically, I have no basis really for me to challenge that. So he could tell me, well, look, it's gone down by 15%, 20%, 10%. That is all I have to go by. There's no comparative survey that I could rely on. They would say, well, look, listen, no, it's gone down. We did surveys on so, and based on this is the data we collected, and it contradicts what the police says, and probably their data seem to be flawed, and all this, the way they approach the collecting data and all that kind of thing, they don't take into consideration persons who might have been shot and died at hospital subsequently, a month, 2 months, and all these things. So I don't know. So we're in a kind of tight situation in which we all we can rely on is what the police says. So he said that, and we have no other source of information, and that's where it is.
Yeah, that is so true, caller. And we're going to a break now, but I want you to call me back after the break because there's another aspect of this I want to explore. Even though the commissioner is making using an attack on the social media and talking about statistics, because I really do not appreciate the distinction between the fear of crime and crime. I think there's a correlation. So it is very difficult for me to accept that one is asserting that all we are experiencing is the fear of crime based on nothing.
Well,
I don't understand that. Because crime produces the fear of crime. It is crime that produces that.
Yeah.
So
because if people are in fact, if they're a high incidence of criminal activity and behavior, especially if you live in a community which is infested with criminal acts and criminal crime as a whole, you're fearful, and more especially when in fact the criminals are not caught.
correct.
And when you talk about, because you have shootouts and all these different things taking place.
We're going for a break now, caller. Call me back. All right.
You've got bills to pay, and so do we. Let's go pay some bills on the street 919 FM.
Peace of God be multiplied unto you in the precious name of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. This is Redemption Hour, a gospel program where God will reveal His mind to you on how to live a fulfilled life and to please Him in all areas. Join Pastor Femi Afolabi, the National Overseer of Deeper Christian Life Ministry, Trinidad and Tobago, and other seasoned ministers for a time of divine encounter as they minister and pray for you every Saturday by 9 o'clock in the morning of this station, Street FM 91.9. Our church is Deeper Life Bible Church, number 1 Cochrane Street, opposite Tunapuna Police Station, Tunapuna. The times of our services are as follows: Sunday worship service, 9 a.m., Monday Bible study, 6 p.m., Thursday revival hour, 6 p.m. The redemption hour is a life-changing moment you cannot afford to miss. For special prayer or counseling, contact Pastor Femi Afolabi on 778-9933. God bless you as you listen to this program. Jesus is Lord.
What are you doing? Big D, big fun, KFC, so we big on the ground. The big nation, cause you don't know we were the crown. Say what you want, KFC, so we lead in front. We are big nation, TNT and KFC, one motion.
Come to KFC, let we hold our vibe, and let we join together because KFC is life. It's a big deal.
Say what you want, KFC, so we lead in front. We are big nation, TNT and KFC, one motion.
Deal.
Friday is for feasting. Fantastic Fridays. 5 pieces of chicken and 3 sides for just $89.95. Big value for the whole lime. Weekends start right. It must be KFC. Order now. Follow KFC Trinidad and Tobago WhatsApp channel for all the deals.
TechFlex TT Limited, the #1 computer store in Trinidad and Tobago, has all your tech needs. We have the latest computers, powerful MacBooks, and affordable Chromebooks for school and work, providing new and refurbished options to suit everyone's budget. Also, we carry a variety of printer options and ink solutions for your home and office needs. Need repairs done? Our experienced technicians can solve your tech problems. Visit us now at any of our 2 locations, Wilson Road, Scarborough, next to Royal Castle, or Penco Street, Montrose, Chagonas. Call 235-4919 for more info. TechFlex TT Limited. Affordable tech. Exceptional service.
Blessings in the wonderful name of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. You are invited to listen to the Final Hour broadcast heard every Monday
from 11 p.m. to 5 a.m. in the morning on the Street 919 FM.
Hear my mom, Pastor Helen Garcia, and myself, Pastor Valentine Garcia Jr., preach the Word of God to the elderly, youth, and children. We can be contacted at 629-0113 or 623-8444. The church is located at 26 Prince Street in Port of Spain. We look forward to you joining us. God bless you.
As my life I lay it on the altar, as my life.
Is a whole lot of flavor wrapped up in a twist. Some of them try to rap, but they don't rap like this. With crispy KFC tenders and lettuce and carrots and shredded tortilla embedded, perfect wherever you headed. Dripping with that creamy mayo and that mambo sauce. Let me tell them one more time to get my point across. It's a craveable, crunchable, movable, functional, flavorful meal that your taste buds must endorse. KFC, crunch twist, crunch twist. None of them, they don't make them like this.
Introducing KFC's Crunch Twist, a flavorful wrap with a delicious difference for just $29.95. KFC, it's finger-licking good.
Share the live. Share the live. The Street 919 FM on Facebook and Instagram. Share the live. Iowa George on Instagram. Share the live. Iowa TV and Street TV on YouTube. Share the live. The Street 919 FM.
Yeah, and the number to call, I'm back. The number to call is 342-0081 4665391. We're talking about crime here and the assertion that the commissioner is making that despite the drops in statistics, the keyboard warriors have been spreading rumors and inciting fear-mongering among the public. And some people have an agenda. Okay, strong words. But as I was trying to say with my caller, he'll call back when he's ready, that let's break this down. What does the drop on statistics have to do with the fear in crime? Good afternoon, caller.
Yeah, good afternoon again, Mr.
Yeah, I don't understand the correlation between the drop in statistics and the fear in crime. Crime is, whether it's 1 or 100, anywhere along that spectrum will create fear. And sometimes it doesn't even have to be the number, it could be the manner. In a rural village, you don't need 40 people to be shot to be afraid.
Well, the thing about it is this: I am no expert in criminology, and I am saying they are saying what they want to say. I can't challenge it. It's like the problem, because there's nobody at the university. They have a criminology department, as far as I heard, some lecturing, some professor in criminology and all that kind of thing. But I don't know what to do. They should come to explain when the police officer, the police commissioner says that. In the past, Diosaran and these people that have been there, Marshall and those people would have been on the radio, some television or radio station, interviewed in the morning to say whether what the police commissioner is saying makes sense at all. That isn't there. Nobody challenged that. Nobody questioned that. As I said, there is no intellectual life in this country. So when he says that the ordinary man don't understand, but he and talk about what is the correlation between what is going on the internet and the people's fear of crime? Is that real? Is there anybody to explain that? Is there in fact a correlation, and what to what extent people are affected or impacted by that? No. If you go to, I don't want to say go outside, but I'm saying that it existed. You had people in the past who we had them here, scholars at the university, who would deal with those things, and they would come to the radio. They were written on the newspaper, and people read and people get an understanding. But I can't make to hoot what he's saying. No, I don't think the ordinary man understand that. But all they know is that they have fear. And I have fear because I ain't going nowhere after 8 o'clock in the night. I'm not traveling into Portland. I can't walk up Frederick Street. I'm not doing that. There's a risk.
Yeah, but the commissioner seems to assert, from my understanding of his argument, that the fear in crime should decrease if the numbers decrease. And I am saying that, in my view, very respectfully, is an absurd assumption.
Yeah.
Because it is not always correlated like that. In a rural area or in a small town, you could have one murder for the year. It will trigger fear. So you can't map 40 murders with 40 fear. It don't work like that. It doesn't work like that. Crime at any level will create hysteria in the community and in society. Whether it be 500 or 5,000. Added to the fact, as you have suggested, the statistics are unchallengeable. But we live on the ground. We don't live in the statistics. We don't live in the statistics. We live on the ground. We have to go to work. We go to church. We go and we commute. And we see and we experience. We see the yellow tape. We hear the gunshots. What more do you want to be fearful?
Well, this is it. And so when you tell me about somebody recently, I think a senior police officer said that there's no fear of crime, something like that.
Yes.
But what they're saying is that everything is all right and there's nothing to fear about crime.
Correct.
Nothing to be afraid of. And I say, but what? You telling me how I must feel? You feel safe, and you telling me because you feel safe, or you have a sense or a feeling of safety, of security, that extends to everybody in the country. Where are you going with that? What makes people fearful? Yeah. Why are people fearful? That is the same. Why are they fearful of crime?
Yeah.
Why this fear?
Yeah.
And it all has to do a lot, as some people were saying, and what they're saying is that the crime is down, but if you have a proliferation of criminal activity and behavior and whatnot, people are going to be fearful. People live in the communities, and when they live in the community, sometimes I live in a community where, in fact, people don't go and exercise in the morning again.
Yeah.
They're not leaving home 5 o'clock or 4 o'clock, and that is constant. Yeah. You're still finding people all about the place, people robbing people, people killing people, all kind of thing, and you telling me that, and I must take that?
I used to go, Chancellor, to exercise very often. And I went about a month ago, or a little more, and I saw evidence that they were trying to break in the vehicle I was driving. When I went home now, a friend of mine sent me information that told me that there was a robbery up there, maybe just hours after I left, and somebody got damaged. I don't really want to go back. No, I've never experienced anything up there untoward, but that incident, that little attempted break-in, and then hearing somebody was robbed and mugged physically. What more do I want? I don't need 5 incidents like that to be afraid. One. You need one murder. You need one murder. So to say that the number fall from 70 to 50, we shouldn't be fearful. That is ludicrous. That's not how fear works.
Yeah, it don't work like that.
It don't work like that.
But I don't know, and I really don't want to get it because next thing they say, because I try to inject fear in people too.
Oh.
I know how they think, but the point about it,
yes,
is that we do not have. And I probably you have forgive me for being repetitive. We don't have surveys and different independent institutions that collect data, analyze data, and all that kind of thing in this country. And therefore, they could say what they want. Because if you go and you draw a connection of people on social media and all that, I can't understand that. If I live in a community where you might say the question is you as the reported crime.
Yes.
A lot of crime not reported.
Yes.
There's an under-reporting of crimes, and for a number of reasons. Because people are reporting crime, one of the reasons is that people feel that the response of the police doesn't make sense because they don't not responding. Some people fear to go in the police station and make report. People feel that they're not protected. If in fact they report crime and that kind of thing, they may become victims. All these things, who's going to secure them? The question of safe houses and all that kind of thing, and so a number of issues. You have to convince the people. They have a duty to convince the people that they are safe. One of the things that would make people safe is patrol. People, regardless of what people say, it is written. I am not moving from that. If you have patrols, some people say if you make patrols, people could time to know an hour. You have to be a fool to have patrol every hour, and you have irregular patrols. If you patrolling at every hour, people can time you, they can predict and all that kind of thing when you come in and all that kind of thing. If you come with unmarked vehicles, you don't have to have, like I remember in a community when they come in with what you call the lights on the top of the car blinking and all that kind of, so people go to know that you in the area. So I'm saying that it's how, not what you do, is how you do it. And if you could, part of the things that make people safe is when they see police.
Yes.
If
Presence.
they see no police, they out of it. What do you mean?
Yeah.
It's like you're in
Presence.
state of nature.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
We have some other callers. Thank you, caller.
Yeah, thanks
You can
again,
call
yeah.
back. Yes, no problem. Sorry about the other callers who were calling. Good afternoon, caller.
Yes, okay, kind of first time caller, don't call very regularly.
That's
This
good.
program, I like you guys, I guess because I had some background in consulting. I like how you all think and how you approach things. And I agree with what you're saying about the statistics and crime and what you're saying about the commissioner. I think you have a very valid point, and I think I agree with what the other caller was saying as well. Particularly your point that although the police are the sole source of the statistical information, we are on the ground. I think a lot of people, unless something is published, they don't take it as valid. But as they say, we are traveling and we are about, and we could see, we could sense what is happening. Even your program, call-in programs are a great source of information. You get a kind of pulse of the society. And while I agree that people are free to use social media in probably illegitimate ways and so on and confuse the situation, it is still democracy at work, because social media is nothing more than just how people talk by the wrong shop or the side of the road, they're talking
Yes.
on the computer.
Correct.
So you need to take their views, what they are saying. And you're right, you cannot legislate feelings, not because statistics drops. The feelings will change and become positive. But I want to raise the point because I don't think I know you're talking about the commission and the crime situation, but the prime minister thing about the taxing. Now, you know, the honorable prime minister has created a kind of thing that we have to take what she says with a pinch of salt. Now, you as an HR professional would know that the way tax and annuities have gone in the past, like Republic Bank tax incentive saving program, is that when you buy the annuity up front, you get a tax break on your contributions. And that is why you pay back tax when you get the benefit at the end of it. Now, I don't know if she's saying that you're going to get two set of tax breaks, so that when you take out the annuity plan, now when you're 20, 30 years and you're paying, you get a tax break on your contribution. And when you get your lump sum at 65, you also get a tax break. Now, of course, they have been giving away a lot of things and not saying how they reason revenue. So that needs to be clarified. The second thing about the removal of tax on pensions, that seems to be a hoax. That also has to be prosecuted. Because if it's saying tax and pension, generally, unless you're in a very high bracket and you're paying, but the people in the lower brackets are not paying tax anyway. Because there's a threshold, I don't know if it's $5,000 a month or so. So once your pension is under that, you're not getting. Now, I don't know, maybe high-priced executives and people over probably pay. And that might be a little bit. I don't know how much it's been. I think they have celebration coming up, so it might be a thing just to satisfy the masses. But the peak now, is a reality of our politics that a lot of people at the lower end, the people who support and so on, don't understand these things. And they will just hear it and they will jump on the radio and they're very positive. And that has been a trend of this administration, saying things to kind of fool people. I mean, with all due respect, the Honorable Prime Minister in the past has not been very, it seems, accurate or credible with financial matters. I mean, there was a big fiasco about the shareholding in Atlantic LNG. Even this energy thing, I was shocked to hear today that they are unaudited accounts. That is absolute nonsense. And anybody who understands organizations and complex organizations like NGC, large organizations, so come and say that you could do in 10 months what somebody else failed to do in 10 years. You're taking people for fools. No company could produce that kind of profit in 10 months. The chairman is a lawyer, not a gas expert. So I think there's more credibility to the fact that measures that were taken over the last 10 years, this is not political now, this is just been business and factual, may have contributed to this. And a point was raised whether there was any shenanigans with the accounts with impairments that were written off in the past being written back. It would be very interesting where the rubber meets the road. Is to say how it is that 3-point-something billion was created with all the problems that we're having with gas and so on. Anyhow, I'll stop for now. I'll listen on it.
Thank you, caller, and we appreciate your comments. Good afternoon, caller.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
How are you, sir?
I'm all right, sir.
I just want to pick up where the caller left off there concerning, one of the things that I find that governments will do is to acknowledge the previous government if they would have done something good. Like he mentioned that something could not have been done in 10 months. It would have meant that the government that was there before would have started it. And if you want to say the government in power don't finish it, yes. But it's something that both governments do. They don't give credit to each other when they retain power. To say, well, based on the previous government doing this, doing that, this is why we have accomplished this here now. They don't, I don't know, for some reason they don't do it. But I think they should do it because it looks good on them. It looks good on them as a government. But for some reason or the other, they don't give kudos to the previous government. And I say that on both governments. Both parties, however, concerning the crime, what I think social media does is more or less highlight crime. Highlight a lot of the crimes that are taking place in various areas. Because there are some crimes that I see on social media and I don't see in the news.
Good point.
So social media is playing a very, very, very important role where that is concerned. In highlighting a lot of the crimes that are taking place in various places. As I say, a lot of them, you don't see them on local news. As far as the fear is concerned, what the commissioner is saying, it's unfortunate. Because the fear is out there. I have a lot of friends and family members that don't go out. They buy what they have to buy and they take it home. They buy the pizza, they take it home. They buy the ice cream and they take it home. They don't want to be outside because the main idea that anything could happen at any time.
Yes.
I know it are some partners who stop go to bars because of the shootings that take place. So now they're buying the beers and they stay home and drink the beers. It's not the same. Because in a bar, you're among friends, music playing, the atmosphere is nice. But they rather stay at home, drink the beers because they tell themselves they're more safe. And the last point is, of course, you have the home invasions. You home, sitting down with the family, watching a movie, eating up pizza as the cases, and your door kicked down. Right? So what I'm saying is, it's there. The reality is there. I wouldn't come down on social media at all. I will tell social media
Yes.
Because a lot of things that you do not hear on the news, social media, it is there in social media for everyone to see.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, caller. Well articulated. And we appreciate all the views and all the callers. Callers who didn't get through for one reason or another, you can call back. Feel free to call back. The commissioner is saying is keyboard warriors. And people who are unwilling to give credit to the TTPS. I don't agree. Yesterday we were giving the TTPS their credit. They are hardworking officers out there. And they have always been. Not all police are corrupt. You know? And sometimes it's very difficult for them to do what they have to do. We appreciate all law enforcement. I think that is a general sentiment despite the issues we have with the police service. Good afternoon, caller.
Hey, Mr. Rolo. How you doing, bro?
Good afternoon, sir.
Yeah. With respect to the commissioner?
Yes.
Listen. Mr. Governor, that you forgetting now. What's wrong with Mr. Governor? He stay away a little while and he come back like he come back. New brand, he forget. No, Mr. Governor. You as the leader say certain things and make some blunders to put people in the country towards the police in a bad light. Like he forget.
Very correct.
Mr. Governor, you listening yesterday with the sources thing? He just emotes just after a while. This is not a 90 wonder, Mr. Governor. Remember your utterances. You said, and I don't want to go back to the radar and tell me job bus and all that, being going back there. You say all them things. I listened yesterday. The first thing he was to do was to remove himself. Later.
Thank you. Good afternoon, caller.
I just called to say, well, after you get that call from the last caller, there is not much to say on the matter. The dial has been capped because something had to be wrong with Govaro head. These fellas head had to be shaken because you have taken the stance in the face of video footage that you are not going to take the bull by the horn. You will assist in what appears to be a cover-up or an escape route for persons who don't carry about themselves in a professional manner. And come to talk that pile of rubbish. Well, as I say, based on the last caller contribution, there is not much left to be said. I locked on.
Thank you, caller. Thanks for all your calls and keep them coming on 3420081 or 4665391. Keyboard warriors. They criticize the police. Good afternoon, caller.
Keep them coming.
Good afternoon, caller.
Good afternoon to you, John. Well, those callers are so accurate. I don't know what to say, but anyhow, you hear me?
Yes, caller, go ahead.
Yes, there is so many things that install fear into people. The minute I just always say, everyone in Trinidad that I see you, you're locked from the front gate straight to your bedroom. That I have to sleep with a no less than a 40-pound sledge. If you feel me more than say I just go through the wall. But I want to say this. One of the biggest things is, I call it the shoulder syndrome.
Yeah.
If you ever watch Hogan's Hero, you know what the shoulder syndrome is. I see nothing, hear nothing, know nothing, absolutely nothing. That is the overall in Trinidad. You understand? Though
Yes.
you have a lot of surveillance camera these days, and you have everyone, the majority of people these days consider themselves as CEO. They lock down themselves at night and unlock themselves in the morning. So you know they fear. No
Yes.
doubt. That is fear alone.
Yes.
You know, social media don't have the thing. So gentlemen, talk down there, I'll leave you all of that.
Thank you, caller. Thanks for the contributions this afternoon. Keep them coming. 466-5391 3420081. Is this a real fear? Somehow it's being portrayed that the fear is illegitimate and the fear is fabricated. I have issue. I take issue. Why aren't people feeling that? Why isn't anyone talking about the 42% in reduction in 2025? Because fear has gripped this country so long that we can't even see when change is coming. Wow. Fear has gripped us so long that we can't see where change is coming. The commissioner believes that fear, more than crime itself, is becoming the most damaging forces affecting Trinidad and Tobago's economy and public confidence. Addressing the Chamber of Industry and Commerce yesterday at the head office, he argued that the national discourse around crime is being distorted despite data showing measurable improvements. Economic stability and public confidence are more interconnected than ever. This morning, I want to speak to you not just about crime itself, but about something that is far more corrosive, persistent, and economically damaging, which is fear, he said. He continued, fear is not just a feeling, it is a force that shapes behavior. It influences national decision-making long before a single crime occurs. He highlighted statistics from TTPS showing that 2025 recorded 370 homicides, the second lowest annual figure in nearly 2 decades. The records from 2008 and 2026 show that the second lowest homicide figure during the entire period was 2025. Yet, no matter what you do with regard to crime, there will be criticism. Wow. Wow. Despite the data, Guevara said public perception remains gripped by fear, which he argued is being amplified by certain interests. So I guess it's the people selling security cameras and doorbells and maybe bad dogs. Fear has become a kind of currency, amplified and galvanized by those who profit from insecurity and those who build their platforms on negativity. He questioned whether some narratives are driven by self-interest. Is it because their business model depends on crime? Who is he talking to or about? I'd rather straight talk. Is it because a safer country threatens your influence? Is it because a safer country threatens your influence, your narrative, or your revenue streams? Guevara warned that fear is distorting behavior and increasing costs for business. So is the Gully Commissioner saying that we are below the fear threshold? Is he saying, fear not, for I am with thee? Wow. Give me a call. 3420081 466-5391. Fear not. I am the commissioner. The commissioner is here. Is this a Marvel movie? Do we have some vigilante superhero flying around? The number to call is 342-0081 4665391. I know someone who has me watching this vigilante movie with this blind lawyer who is also a superhero. Maybe we need him. But we should not. Is it that we should not be afraid? I am. I don't live in fear. But if you ask me if I am afraid of certain movements due to the crime situation, I will say yes 15 times. You could move your statistics up or down. Give me a call on the Third Empire. 342-0081 4665391. Is the fear among the citizenry the result of social media? And one caller point out that thank God for social media that we do know certain things. Thank God for social media because we do know certain things. If it wasn't, for social media, some types of crime we would never know about because some are unreported, and some are underreported, and some are distorted. But when you see live videos and footage, you're shocked that those things, sometimes you see those things and you say, well, that is Trinidad? You say this is Trinidad? You're wondering if this is Trinidad. You're not sure. But the commissioner seems to assert that, hey, better days are coming. Stalin. And you all should not give in to this fear. Maybe this mask superhero is the next crime plan. I just don't understand his argument with the relationship between fear and statistics. I do not know in reality if crime works like that, if fear works like that. One rape, you don't need 4. And you don't need it to happen every month either. One murder, one house break-in. One. Give me a call. 342-0081 4665391. Again, those numbers are 342-0081 4665391. Give me a call. And on that note, as we are there, the police are waiting forensic reports in the investigation into police-involved shooting of Joshua Samaru and Kia Seeley, injured in January. They were both shot dead. Good afternoon, caller.
Yeah, good afternoon. Good afternoon.
We get
Yeah, Mr. Rollock.
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah. Mr. Rollock, if they want to know how people feel, are they fearful or not? Why they don't go into those communities, hold town hall meetings, and get the views of the people? Now, do they ask them whether they feel, whether they have fear or they fear? They're not doing that. They stand out there and saying that people have fear and all that. Do they go into those communities? Do they hold town meetings? But you standing up outside and telling me about fear driven by people in social media and whatnot. Go to the people. This is what happens not just in Trinidad but internationally. Go to Donald Hill where there was some murders up there recently. And the lady, I saw on television.
Yes.
She said she was fearful and no police in the area. And she's fearful. I don't know. I really don't know. I live in Trinidad here, but I don't know. And like they don't care, they're listening to nobody. They're listening to people. They do what they want. And the thing, and the people feel safer when they see police. That is it. When police is in the area and police patrol in the area, we're talking about irregular patrol, not hour upon hour. And people, whoever into crime and whatnot, right? You have community engagement and that kind of thing. Police could get information from because they trust, they have some confidence because you interact with them. And that, I am just advising, you see to alleviate the fears of the people as regards crime, go into the communities, put patrols in the community. That is the international standard. It is not Trinidad standard, but it is the international standard. I don't know whether they have police vehicles and whatnot. I know the extent of it. But you could try it in 1 or 2 communities and ask, and then keep it there for a month or 2 months and hear what the people, ask them whether they feel safe. And I'm certain they'll tell you they feel safe, more safe. I will tell you, you just do that. Put the police in those high crime communities, those hotspots. Put them there and put patrol there. Right? Motor vehicle patrol. The question of foot patrol might be a more challenging thing. But put police there and then go back after 2 months and ask them how they feel. Don't stay up where it is in Port of Spain and tell me people more safe and people on social media and all that kind of thing. I don't want to hear that. That is all I want to say, Mr. Rollock. This thing, and I don't know where we're going in this place. And they're not listening. In fact, what they're saying is that if you want to work with the community to work with you, then you must work with them. You must listen to them. The people have to work with, but you're not working with them. You're not going into the communities. You're not here. You're not listening to the cries. Thank you.
Thank you, caller. Good afternoon, caller.
Yeah, Mr. Rollins. Did they get something to replace the radar that they gave so much credit to when it was here?
Well, that's a good question, but I think you might have to ask the chief sec. Which radar? The one in Tobago?
Yes, that is the one that they give so much credit to for helping them get the drugs in Carney Swamp for a number of different things.
Well, I find they can leave it.
Well, you see, Mr. Rollocks, if you watch something on video and you have to summarize what you saw, right? The words that you use ought to try to paint some picture so that when you say it, the minds of person would actually have it would actually try to mirror what actually happened. But when there is no alignment in actual footage and statement coming from the head of the TTPS, then we are in a troubling place. How could he warn people to feel safe when that is the route that he takes? I at the end of the day, Mr. Rolex, he did a very poor job, and I'm being very modest by saying it in this way, as it relates to his responses when the footage came out about how his officers would have acted in the scenario with Joshua and Kaya. And up to now, not an apology, not a word saying, well, I made my statements based off of what my officers told me, but the video that came out shows shows a different story. Nothing like that. You, according to the caller, you come out brand new. Hey, I just had to laugh. Yes, I really had to laugh. You see this country? Boy, it's not easy. It's not easy. And they continue to just fill up the airwave with allegations. And what next? You talk about people was getting gun like if it's not sharing out. But what next? Anybody being held culpable for that? Or is just a comfort to know that we could just pelt out something to keep the population occupied while we continue to draw money under false pretense? I looked on and listening, brother.
Thank you, caller. Good afternoon, caller.
Yeah, good afternoon to you, sir. Good afternoon to your listeners.
Yes, good afternoon.
I beg to differ from the previous caller in relation to the Commissioner Joint Pay under Fortune. I think you've passed out of this. One incident, bad as it is, and I don't want to trivialize it. And you know what's hurtful for me? That previous caller, among many other people, when there's an incident involving police, everybody wanted Erla to move, wanted Gary to move, every commissioner. And we keep telling you all, that there must be reform for the police service to clearly give responsibility to divisional head. Do that and let them operate in a space to give account for actions in division. And you all would never frame that so. And sometimes blame the citizens because really and truly, they don't really know how structure is supposed to operate. Let me give an example. Now, in the U.S., not everything we take from the U.S., but it's important that sometimes there are things that you could have a parallel sort of operations with based on what takes place in a different country. The mayor might be able to dismiss a sergeant, a corporal, an inspector, rank equivalent in the U.S. based on anything you would have seen that seemed uncomfortable in the public interest. In Trinidad and Tobago, we always want the commissioner moved. And that's the problem. I think we have 10 senior superintendents in this country and in the police service. Do reform and let each senior sup report on the division. And if they can't do it, get rid of them. And you do it in the same line. We have to have accountability, but after accountability, have consequence. You can. I know Mr. Gavaro trying real hard, but the thing of it, government giving data on 42%, 30%, I have a problem with that. Because my thing is, if you have 600 murders for the year, and then you have 4, that's too much for a small country, and it doesn't mean that I feel safe.
Thank you.
So let me end. I think we need reform.
Yes.
And we have to do it quickly in a lot of the things we do in this country, sir. Thanks for the opportunity.
No problem, caller. I hear that on reform. I take that point of reform. I do take that point. I can ask more questions about the reform, but I take that point. That is a very good point. And we have said that before, even on this show, we've said that before. We do acknowledge that there is dire need for change within the service. But we want to labor on the point about fear and the suggestion that it's social media that is galvanizing this fear. Guevara said the investigative side of the shooting had been completed, but for the Director of Public Prosecutions to review the case, they needed the reports from the Forensic Science Center, which are yet to be submitted. As a result, he called for patience from interested parties. The investigation, as far as the police aspect is concerned, has reached a point where we approach the Director of Public Prosecutions, that's the DPP. What is outstanding are forensic reports. We don't control that, he said. He explained that the forensic analysis required time and could not be expedited beyond established processes. Guevara said that he understood that the public's view on how quickly these reports were generated was influenced by what they saw on television. However, it was not such a quick process in real life. That is magic of Hollywood. You cannot look at TV shows and believe how things are done, he said, and nothing even in international agencies such as the FBI experience similar delays. Sometimes it takes months or even years. I really don't know if that is comfort, sir, to be honest. Guevara acknowledged that the concern for families awaiting results and called for patience as investigations continued. So I feel for the family and for those who are waiting, because I know it takes time. We want to make sure we get it right, he said. Guevara maintained that the TTPS remained committed to completing investigations thoroughly and ensuring that evidence supported the outcomes. He also said that he had initially been warned by the legal officers against releasing the video footage. However, he stood by his decision. I wanted to show the public what I am seeing, he said, and at the end of the day, I am the leader of the organization and I will take the blows for it. I can stand before anybody and say, I made the decision. On January the 20th, Mr. Samaru and Miss Seeley were shot after a chase that ended when their vehicle crashed in a drain in St. Augustine. Samaru was killed while Seeley was paralyzed. The incident, which was captured on video, fueled public anger and renewed scrutiny of police use of force. So that is a report on the Joshua Samaru murder or killing. I don't know that makes anyone feel safe or safer. Give me a call. The number to call is 342-0081 466-5391. 342-0081 466-5391. Keyboard warriors. Unwilling to give credit to the TTPS even when improvements in crime and public safety were clear. Clear as day. Clear as day. Improvements in crime and public safety were clear. Wow. Good afternoon, caller.
Yeah, Mr. Lux, I had a call back. You know, I welcome a difference in opinion, but I would appreciate if it is surrounded in logic and real honesty, true honesty, because when you want to take away the blame or the responsibility from the Commissioner of Police and disagree that he is drawing money under false pretense, if not that, I don't know what is, because when you have the responsibility of leading the police service, right, we require a certain amount of honesty and integrity from you. And you might say this is one instance, but one instance is way too much, especially when there is clear information, clear footage that suggests that you don't need to dance around so much. Because if it was people who are outside of the police service, this investigation would have taken a whole different turn. We would have heard a narrative from the TTPS, whether it's true they talk in pieces or beyond the tape, right? We would have heard how heinous the crime was and how we hunted down these people and no stone will be unturned. But because the perpetrators involved are members of the TTPS, is all this dance, we have to be dancing around the scenario, the officers could have already been arrested and charged pending further investigations, like how it's done with every other person in the country, just based on what you saw on the footage. And if the leader of the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service cannot see that, then clearly he's drawing money under false pretense. Clearly he's drawing money under false pretense. And the thing about it, it doesn't matter if you do a million good. At the point when you do that wrong, come on, it's obvious the lights will be on you. It's obvious the lights will be on you in the same way that the lights will be on every citizen out here who choose to partake in wrongdoings. Because they might have been a good citizen doing a million right. And the moment they enter into that life of crime, the spotlight is on you. If they cannot handle the fire, they need to come out of the kitchen. Because what is required is a person who, when they say something, we don't have to guess and doubt and wonder if it's really that he's saying what take place. We're not supposed to be going through that, especially in 2026. And part of the problem is people are always coming out to offer excuses for these people. Always coming out to offer excuses. It is ridiculous, the position that we continue to put ourselves in by not demanding more from these people who we pay handsomely. Handsomely. We have to check ourselves, you know. We have to check ourselves because when we continue to defend them, they will have no problem continuing in the same direction. I look to understand, Mr. Ross.
Thank you, caller. Good afternoon, caller.
Good afternoon again, sir.
Yes, go ahead.
I don't think the gentleman understands. He makes a point about arresting people pending investigation. Where in the world do you do that? There are people, even though there's an incident, it's really unfortunate. And not only that, you saw a video at the end game of the whole incident. You cannot charge police officers unless you have a thorough investigation. And sometimes these things may take time. So your enthusiasm is fine. But to have people victimized in the sense of firing people, you don't do that. There should be consequence. There's no question about that. But this is going to people's salary and they're working and so on. There are other areas of work that are doing pretty well by the police service. And you're not recognizing that. But this incident was unfortunate. It still remains one under investigation. And so, bluntly, I would tell you have to wait. You have to wait. I would admit that in the meantime, you have to be careful how you want to go about, the family with this incident. You need to be careful. But definitely, it should be left under scrutiny, a strong investigation, and the outcome will determine exactly what happened. But you have to wait. But asking for people to be fired and all that kind of thing, I think it's too premature. Thank you again, sir.
Thank you, caller. Well, we're under 2 minutes left this afternoon, and just to, wind up our discussions on the exemption on the pension, tax exemption on the pension. We did speak about that earlier, and one caller really questioned whether that is indeed so, because under a particular pension bracket you are not taxed, according to the caller. Okay, so we'll have to hear more about that and which group it affects or which group benefits from it the most. We will. And then we spoke about crime, and we spoke about the statistical reduction in crime according to the TTPS and the hierarchy or the commissioner. And we want to say thanks and hats off to all the hardworking officers who have helped and who continue to do their work diligently and risk their lives. Just up to yesterday, we were praising the officers involved in the retrieval of the revolver the gun, that was taken from the lady at Westmoreland, and the money that was returned to her, we did give them high praise and commendation for the officers. I think they say were from 4 roads, who acted swiftly. That goes without saying. We do have a vast majority of hardworking officers. Whether that 40, 20, 30 or 60% reduction in crime is commensurate with a reduction in fear among the citizenry, I do not think that that's how fear works. On a daily basis, when we go to shop, you go to work, you go to the mechanic shop, you go to the grocery, you go to a little party, you go to a little hangout, or you even at home in your own house, I do not think that that's how crime works. I don't think that's how fear and comfort, which is the opposite of this fear. I don't think that's how it works. I don't think there's a trigger number with that. Be it as it may, we all have to live in this country, and we all have to do our part to ensuring that it is relatively safe, whether it is helping the police in their duties by giving information. But that also comes with trust and the ability to trust them with this information. Have a safe weekend. See you on Monday.
You've got bills to pay, and so do we. Let's go pay some bills on the street 919 FM.
What are you doing? Big D, big fun, KFC, so we big on the ground. We the nation, cause you don't know we win the crown. It's a big D. Say what you want, KFC, so we lead in front. We are big nation, TNT and KFC, one motion.
Come to KFC, let we hold our vibe, and let we join together because KFC is life.
It's a big D. Say what you want, KFC, so we lead in front. We are big nation, TNT and KFC, one motion.
Friday is for feasting. Fantastic Fridays. 5 pieces of chicken and 3 sides for just $89.95. Big value for the whole lime. Weekend start right. It must be KFC. Order now. Follow KFC Trinidad and Tobago WhatsApp channel for all the deals.
Better living starts at Furniture Plus. Get up to 50% off on furniture, appliances, mattresses, and more. Plus free gifts with select purchases and just $1 down on credit plans. Don't wait. Visit Furniture Plus today.